this morning, Adam Schefter reported that the 49ers will start their season at home on Monday Night Football against Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, and the New York Jets. This team was 7-10 last year. Rodgers went down week 1. Let's see if he can make it to week 2 this year. What do you think of this matchup?
Okay. My first, when you told me about it this morning, my initial feeling was the Niners going to kill these guys. They were 7-10. Rodgers ain't what he used to be. Listen, he didn't make it through the first series, Iggy.
No.
Maybe he can make it through a quarter. He's well past his sell-by date. But then you and I got to talking. Robert Saleh is a hell of a good coach, especially on defense. They had a really good defense last season, and they played without a quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll beat the Niners. I firmly believe the Niners will beat them. Iggy, it'll be a game.
It'll definitely be a game. The Niners are 5-point favorites. It'll be an interesting test for the Niners going against Rodgers. I mean, they've beaten him a lot of times. They've handled him, that particular defense, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. But it will be Nick Sorensen's first game as a defensive coordinator, so that'll be an interesting test for him and the Nick Sorensen, Brandon Staley brain trust, the Siamese twins, whatever they are, working together to shut down the opposing offense. And then for the Niners offense, I think it's the most interesting test. They're facing the number 3 defense in the league last year. The Jets had a really good defense. And every time the Niners offense faced a really good defense from the AFC last year, they looked ordinary at best on offense. So it'll be an interesting test.
And also, Saleh knows what they do.
Saleh knows what they do. So it'll be sort of an insider's look at what the Niners' weaknesses are. He knows the Niners as well as any coach not on the Niners. And he knows what they want to do and what they're not good at stopping. So right away, we'll see how he decides to attack them.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that offense with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback can score efficiently against the 49ers?
I think the Niners have a really good defense, and they're going to make it tough on Rodgers in that offense. But they can score. They have 3 good wide receivers and a good running back. I don't know about their offensive line. They're kind of similar to the Niners like that. So I think the Niners defense should be able to hold up to that matchup.
That's what I think. I think it may be closer than I initially thought, but I don't think the Jets have enough offense to compete with the Niners, even though their defense is probably just about as good.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have enough offense. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is an elite quarterback anymore. I think they're deluding themselves about Aaron Rodgers. I do.
I agree. And I think if the Jets were to win this game or if the Niners were to lose it, it would be a lower scoring game, a game where the Jets defense is responsible for the win. That they can do Kansas City did or Baltimore did or Cleveland or Cincinnati and hold the Niners to about 20 points.
I have to say this, Iggy. It's a long time in the future, but is it the first Monday night game of the year?
September 9th, yes.
Okay. If the Niners were to lose that game on Monday night, the first Monday night game, and at home, that would be
to Saleh
almost devastating.
Yeah.
So let me say, of course, it's not a must-win game. There were 16 others, but it's a must-win game.
It feels like it. And it feels like the Niners have more to lose than the Jets. They're the ones that were in the Super Bowl. They're at home. They're 5-point favorites. They're supposed to win. But the Jets are probably one of the better teams that the Niners are expected to beat this year.
Iggy, you saw Saleh at the owners' meetings. Did he seem like a nerve? I mean, you talked to him for 20, 25 minutes. Saleh and Grant are actually friendly. Did he seem like a nervous guy to you? Did he seem worried?
No. He seemed frustrated by all the criticism he's getting in New York and feels like it's a quirk of New York, how everyone wants to fire him now. And it's like, wait a second. We just went 7-10 without Aaron Rodgers. why don't you wait and see what we do this year? He seemed very confident, actually, like amused that his particular market is so ruthless and wants to fire him so bad, but really thinks he's going to win a lot this year. I mean, he seems fairly confident in that. Now they have to keep their quarterback healthy.
Which I'm not so sure they can, because he's as slow as a fire hydrant. He's got the mobility of a fire hydrant. I wouldn't be surprised if Iggy, I'm not thinking he's going to make it through the whole season, Aaron Rodgers. No. I hope they have a good backup, because I don't think he's going to make it through the whole season.
In that sense, this is kind of the worst time to face the Jets, week 1, because he just might make it through the whole game. Now, last year he didn't, but this year he might make it through the whole game. Or if he only makes it through 3 quarters, that could be enough.
Yeah. Iggy, do you know who their backup quarterback is?
Let me look it up right now. I don't know who it is. Jets roster. 1 second. Opening up a tab. Hopefully this doesn't kill everything. Tyrod Taylor, who frankly is not a bad backup quarterback.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's better than Zach Wilson.
He's a quintessential backup quarterback, and he can do things.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Kind of like Josh Dobbs.
Absolutely. What I want to say about Saleh, never having met him, but having observed him and having known him through you, he seems like a man very comfortable with himself.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Extremely. Knows who he is, comfortable with himself, and is not hyper defensive.
Right. And Iggy, if he had wanted to, he could have been on Wall Street. He could have been a multimillionaire working on an investment firm. He's that brilliant, right?
His brother's on Wall Street. I think he started off on Wall Street and then just decided he had a passion and went and became a coach and worked his way up all the way from the bottom with no connections.
I love it. Yeah. So anyway, again, I really feel the Niners are going to win this game. I just think all in all, even if the defenses are pretty equal, and they may be, Jets may even be better, the Niners offense is so much better, according to my gut feeling, that I think the Niners are going to win the game. But it's, you know what? It's not a thrilling matchup, because who are the Jets? But it's an intriguing matchup.
Yeah, it is an intriguing matchup. And you keep going to the Niners are going to win because you like their offense better than the Jets offense. I'm sort of leaning I think the Niners are going to win because I think they've done such a good job against Aaron Rodgers throughout the years. And he's not better now.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we say they've done a good job, this is what I've observed. He gets discouraged and then he sulks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for a future Hall of Fame quarterback, he has a crummy in-game personality. Iggy, am I wrong to say he sulks?
He'll miss a throw, he'll get hit, and all of a sudden he's looking at his offensive lineman, he's looking at his receivers, he's looking at his coach, like, you guys aren't helping me. You guys are letting me down. They're going to lose today. They're going to lose today. Yeah.
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 I just don't like the way he comports himself. I really don't. I mean, for example, a beginner like Brock Purdy comports himself better than he's not as good as Aaron Rodgers and never will be as good as Aaron Rodgers was. But a quarterback's mentality, much more character on the field than Aaron Rodgers, but not the tools.
So here's the thing. If Steve Wilkes were here, this would be kind of scary. We'll got to see what Nick Sorensen has planned for Rodgers. Saleh did a good job against him. Ryans did a good job against him. But last year when the Niners faced really good quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, they diced up the 49ers, made it look easy. And Aaron Rodgers, even though he can't move, you said the mobility of a refrigerator. That's true. He still can throw a football as well or better than anyone on the planet. So if the Niners play really soft coverage, if their pass rush is as weak as it was last year, they will lose. It's going to be very interesting to see how the 49ers get Aaron Rodgers to pout and eventually quit like they always do.
Iggy, I'm going to go a little tangential for a moment because you got to remember I missed a week.
Sure.
In the last week, Sorensen spoke. Now, I did watch the tape or the video of him. What was your impression of how he presented himself?
I thought he didn't give a particularly impressive presentation. And I'm used to this is the fourth defensive coordinator they've had there. Robert Saleh, D'Amico Ryans are both head coaches now. They would come out completely shaved, ready, prepared, energetic, upbeat, eager to answer questions and show that they are head coach material. Like they were carrying themselves like head coaches before they were head coaches as first-year defensive coordinators right away. Then Steve Wilks came in and he had been a head coach, so he had all that kind of dignity, even though he didn't have the same type of like positivity and energy that the previous two had. Sorensen came in very low ebb, quiet, answered questions like this, had a hat on over his eyes so that you couldn't really see his eyes. He hadn't shaved. He needed a haircut. He didn't have specific answers to questions. Not Saleh, not D'Amico. Maybe he's going to be great, but he didn't carry himself like a guy who expected to be a head coach in a year or two. He kind of carried himself like a guy who was a bit surprised he was the defensive coordinator of the 49ers.
Okay. Let me tell you what I got just from the video. I thought he seemed like a pretty honest guy. I thought he may have been unimpressive, but he seemed honest, straight ahead, not a subtext. What you saw was what you got. I thought he was likable. I did. I thought he was a nice man. Whether that translates into being a good defensive coordinator, I don't know. But I felt watching him, I'd like to talk to him again. If I were covering the team, I'd like to have 15 minutes with him. What I still do not understand is what he and Staley how they're going to work that out. Because he kept referring to Staley as if they share a personality. You know what I mean? He didn't come across, I'm the defensive coordinator. He came across, it's sort of me and Brandon. And I don't really know how that works. Now, people asked, will you be on the field? And he said very assertively, yes, I'll be on the field. I like to be on the field, and that's fine. I assume Staley will be up in the booth, right?
I would assume so. They didn't say for certain.
Assume so. Anyway, my feelings about Sorensen, as a guy, I thought he was okay. I did. As a coach, I didn't have any feeling at all. I didn't have a one feeling or another. But I do know sometimes when these people get introduced, I don't like them, but I kind of liked him.
Yeah, he just didn't seem to have. I mean, interesting, impressive answers. Like, what is Brandon Staley going to do? Oh, he's going to help with a little bit of everything. Okay. You guys kind of struggled against the run last year. What are you going to do to fix that? We've addressed it. We'll fix it. Oh, okay.
I see what you mean.
Why did Kyle and John hire you? Why do you think that you got this job? What do you bring to this job that got you the job? You'd have to ask John and Kyle that. Okay. So I thought he spoke in a lot of platitudes in a soft voice, and maybe he's great, but he just didn't project much confidence.
Okay.
In what he was saying.
All right. What you're describing to me is a lifelong assistant coach, not a coordinator. A lifetime assistant coach who's used to not talking, who's used to people not caring about or even knowing.
Right. As opposed to Saleh and D'Amico, who you knew they were preparing to be head coaches because they were ready for that moment. It's like now I get to talk. I've been dying to talk. This guy seemed like I don't need to talk necessarily. Staley could talk. I'm just here to coach. He was a player in the NFL for 10 years. And I'm sure that's why the players on the team respect him. They like him. It seems like.
You know what he was thinking, Iggy?
What?
I don't need to talk to you.
Look,
Brett
jerky. Look, jerky. Wouldn't it be funny if you asked a coach a question one time and he just stopped and said, "Look, jerky, I don't need to talk to you." No one knows. 645 people who are watching have no idea what we're talking about right now. If anyone knows the reference, go ahead and put it in the chat. I bet
that would be a riot. That would be a riot. Yeah.
Look, jerky.